All right, in today's Sports Betting 101 video, we are going over one of the most common bet types, the spread bet. So when you're looking at a spread bet in a sports betting app, you will see two teams. One team will have plus and one team will have a minus, and then the number will be the same. So it'll be the Detroit Lions plus 3.5, and then the Minnesota Vikings minus 3.5, or the Detroit Lions plus 4, Minnesota Vikings minus 4. Whatever the number is on the plus side, it'll be the same on the minus side. So what does the spread mean? So if we have a spread of 3 points, plus 3 will be for the underdog, whereas minus 3 will be for the favorite. So if you bet on a team plus 3 points, it means your team either must win the game outright or lose by less than 3 points for you to win your bet. Whereas if you bet on a team to cover the point spread of 3 points or minus 3 points, you're betting that that team will win by more than 3 points. So how this scenario plays out is if you have the Colts plus 3 and the Texans minus 3, and the Colts lose the game 21-23, if you bet on the Colts plus 3, you'd win the point spread because 21 plus 3 is 24, which is more than 23. And on the reverse of that, if you bet the Texans minus 3, then you'd lose because 23 minus 3 is 20, and the Colts scored 21. In the second scenario here, you have the Colts losing 17-24. So in this scenario, if you bet on the Colts plus 3, you'd lose your bet because 17 plus 3 is 20. The Texans scored 24. And on the reverse of that, if you bet the Texans minus 3, you'd win your bet because 24 minus 3 is 21, which is more than 17. So where it can get a little bit tricky is if you have a scenario like this where the Colts lose the game 17-20. No matter what side you bet on this scenario, you'd push, which means essentially whatever you bet, the sportsbook would give you your money back. You wouldn't win any additional money, but you wouldn't lose any money. And that's because 17 plus 3 is 20, 20 minus 3 is 17. So it's essentially like a wash, or like you've never even placed the bet in the first place. So where this can get a little bit tricky is if we add a half a point here. So now we have the Colts plus 3.5 or the Texans minus 3.5. So in the first two scenarios play out the same. 21 plus 3.5 is more than 23, and 24 minus 3.5 is still more than 17. But in the last scenario, that extra half point makes a difference, right? Because if you have the Colts plus 3.5, that means they scored with the point spread 20.5 points, which is more than 20. So if you bet on the Colts plus 3.5 here, you'd win your bet. And if you bet on the Texans minus 3.5, 20 minus 3.5 is 16.5, which is less than 17, so you'd lose your bet. So when there's that half point in there, there's no opportunity to push with the sports book. Sometimes people buy a half a point, which means if the line is 3, you'd bump it up or down to, you'd bump it up to 3.5, or you'd bump it down to 2.5. And then you'd sacrifice some of the odds for that bet. So maybe instead of betting $1 to win 90 cents, you'd bet $1 to win 80 cents or 85 cents or whatever. But then you get that scenario where you have the half point, and if it's a key number like 3 or 7 for NFL games, it might make a difference. But regardless, I hope this video is helpful for understanding spread bets. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll try and answer them, or make another video if there's anything else that might be helpful. Thanks for watching.